Shalom. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kadesh. The one is the elder apostles, the great most on the rule well, and Shalom to the brothers and workers in truth, pushing his word to the four corners. Shalom. I was just kind of meditating, because I remember reasoning with a brother early in the week about, just kind of the psychology of women, especially within, uh, you know, the Western world where there's that there's this been coded in, not even just with Jake women. Jake women you can have as an example, but it's like all the heathen women as well, because this is Esau's system, is Esau's rule. They have that mindset, that view of him, where they're pedestalizing. Let's say they're basically looking at Esau as the pinnacle of masculinity, of desirability, these things. But then it's a thing where, obviously knowing the scriptures, knowing the truth, it's a deceit. The whole kind of allure is like a Hollywood illusion. The whole kind of James Bond, the suave, smooth talking, confident, man kind of doing it. That's a creation of fiction. But then it's just more the psychology of the women, because especially with how seeing reality as it is, it's like, they're gonna seem fucking insane the way they're looking up to this man. But it's kind of one of those things, of just, what will drive you insane, because everyone's women aside, everyone's looking at Esau's system, his kingdom, his rulership, as these are the most desirable kind of ways to live and to rule and to whatever. They'll say, oh, this is the best time to be alive, X, Y, Z. Meanwhile, munching on what they called, munching on antidepressants, munching on antidepressants, and they ain't seen interact with a human being outside of work for like the last 2-3 months. But then they'll be like, yeah, it's the greatest time to be alive. But I read this, Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Yeah, that's the key point. Your trust in the shadow of Egypt will be your confusion, because that's the reality of what is manifesting there. They basically tallied up and looked around and been like, you know what, this man is the one. I'm going to put my trust and faith in him. And read this, Jeremiah 30:14. It says, what? All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. For I wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Yeah, and that's, looking at Jake. Thy lovers have forgotten thee. Just as, how, Jake have their women, and then you have the order where, it's the Most High, Yahweh Shai, the man, the woman. The woman's meant to be in order under the man. And then men are meant to be in order underneath Yahweh Shai and the Most High. But these things have now spiraled into, complete confusion. And, you got men not wanting to subject men not wanting to subject themselves to Yahweh Shai. women not, wanting to subject themselves to their men. And, just like how uh, Israel as well as a unit, they're compared as, to a comely and delicate woman. They're, the man they're meant to be dealing with is Yahweh Shai, the Most High. But then, they're gathering about to these different nations, their different forms of belief and whatnot. And it's that's really the thing that comes to mind thinking about these, the modern women where they're looking at Esau. They've basically just been, it's um emblematic. It's comparable. It's essentially manifest that they're like Israel, just kind of whoring around and going to these different men. It's the same thing these modern women are doing. And then Esau is the key one, just as with, even the men of Israel, whether they know that Israel or not, they're all caught up within his system. They're caught up within trying to achieve or attain or build themselves up out here. So it's the same kind of thing, just manifesting in different ways. But then it says what? Thy lovers have forgotten thee. Even with all that appealing you're doing, it's it's not to your benefit. Because it's funny as well. It's like even with the women, it's like they'll it's like Jake women especially. They'll be the ones where they're doing their utmost best, the earnest best, to try and get themselves an Edomite. And then they'll doing all that, putting all that effort in, but then they'll realize they're still they've not escaped from the fact that they're still a Jake. And it's funny because that's the same thing a lot of people engaging with the system are trying to do. They see, the elite of Esau, how they're living, how they sustain themselves. They're basically hypnotizing themselves to be like, okay, now I can attain or gain, or there's some kind of ability for me to climb to that level. But that ease isn't gonna come. Says the key example, Hosea 1 and 2, it says, the beginning of the word of the Lord Yahweh by Hosea. And the Lord Yahweh said to Hosea, go take unto thee a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms, for the land hath committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord Yahweh. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. So yeah, you had Hosea commanded to take a wife of whoredoms. Why? Because that's the same behavior that was being enacted. And you deal with, this time now is very much that. You have amongst the men of Israel, then amongst the nation, and any and everything that can be worshipped is being worshipped by these guys, as long as it's not the Most High. They're getting in every philosophy under the sun. They'll be trying to manifest themselves into some, a superhuman state, not realizing, there's an agreement, a covenant they're being held to. They need to fulfill their part of, and then falling short of that is why everything's not working out. But it's the same thing, it's the behaviors of the women, the same emotions that you kind of engage with. You feel you were to walk home, and if you walk into your home and find your wife spread eagled with the pool boy or the gardener or the I don't know, man, the geezer from work, man, that whispers sweet nothings into her ear. Those emotions are the same thing that the Most High is feeling towards Israel. And that's where it's, you meditate on these things. It's fucked, and then you really realize like it's amazing that the pathway to mercy even still exists. Because as far as really amongst all Israel, it's like who's really worthy of it. Jeremiah 4:30 says, "And when thou art spoilt, what wilt thou do? Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee, they will seek thy life. For I've heard a voice as a woman in travail, and anguish as of her that bringeth forth her first child. The voice of the daughter of Zion that bewaileth herself, that spreadeth her hands, saying, Woe is me, for my soul is wearied because of murderers." And yeah, that appealing to these lovers is not not gonna run. And then even with now, it's really a thing, because it's ironic. It's like you can really look at it as far as all these different philosophies and ideas. It's there's no rooting in it, there's no grounding in it, and there's no pathway to salvation. And you think it's like, look at how these women are kind of go out and engage with those who hold the power, and that's Esau, Edom at the minute. And that's the thing as well, is that aspiration, desire towards them is the same thing. When it was Babylon at the top, when it was Cush, them men were being dealt with like they were gods on earth, man. Women would have been like, ooh, feeling like, yeah, all in how they view and approach them, man. So it's really transitory. It's a very short kind of thing whilst you kind of have it. But then that's the thing is everyone, when you're in the midst of it, that shit feels glorious. But then what? Thy lovers will despise thee. All that appeal. It's there might be a moment when it's like you have a lot of these Jake women especially, where they'll kind of get with them, and it's like, oh, there might be a certain shine to it. It might seem like, oh, it's living that Hollywood, that social media kind of life. But then after a while, you realize like, no, it's not gonna run. So I always remember there was a fucking there was a one in the Navy as well, where there's a black woman in the Navy where she said she was dealing with legendary levels of racism, but because she was a black woman, they wanted to use her for like recruitment, despite like, it's like she had a picture like in those posters all around. And it's funny because I remember seeing the posters before. The posters were just fucking everywhere. It's like recruitment for the Navy. But she was saying like, yeah, while she was there, she was dealing with like super heroic levels of racism. It's the same kind of thing, man. It's like you think you have, you've got a niche, you got an angle, but you don't really. And but then that's like I said, it's not even something in Esau that really has that kind of a law, that kind of desire. That's really Jake, because you have to consider it's like Jake on the bottom. But then, even when Jake went slavery, had white women where they were looking to go and, okay, they want to deal with him. There's something there. There's a law. There's a mystique. Because why? Because it's Israel. Because they're the salt of the earth, man. Because they have that draw to them. But then what's Esau's is that he has the throne presently. The throne's he's been seated upon it for his time, for his season. And that's really what the allure is. And all these different nations, women are looking like, ooh, because what? He opens the doorway to the goodies. That's really what it is. The goodies, the lifestyle. Jeremiah 3:1, it says, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with me, lovers, with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith the Lord Jehovah. And yeah, that's the same thing. Now, if you're at a woman and you just put her away, and then she just get her back bent over and broken by some next geezer, then like you're just gonna go, nah, actually I want her back. That's nice done. That's corrupted. That's been befouled. And they, these are the things. But it's funny as well because it's the wicked and adulterous generation, man. It's like now is the time where it's like that's a standard. It's like someone getting an untouched wife. That's functionally not heard of. Men are out here where it's they'll get wives, they'll get women, but then they use goods, and these are the things where it's all just kind of lets the parallels. Because the thing is as well is like this generation so fucked that's become a norm. They might be desirous of, she's been ran through a bit. They might like, there's a baddie. That's why all these like athletes and whatnot be falling for those seductresses, those succubus spirit, destroying. Because why is because now this generation now is corrupt, man. This generation done for. Like it's a wrap. Like it needs to be cleansed. Because everyone's done out here. But then what Amos 7:17, it says, therefore thus saith the Lord Jehovah, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land. Yeah, thy wife shall be a harlot in the city, thy sons and daughters shall fall by the sword. That's a key part of of the destruction of Israel, man. The women out here just whoring it out. And that's the joke as well, is it all reflects back. Because it's really part of humility. Because in reality, like what Israel, the prince of the power, man. Princes of the Most High. Sons of the Most High. So, functionally royalty. But then, what's for us for now? Now we're playing out our punishment, man. And it's wrapping up. It's at end, but that's really what's happening. So these are things where it's the relationship between the men and the women is through. But then it's the other aspect. One aspect is obviously, reflecting on what Israel's done to the Most High. But then as well, it's to keep you humble, man, and desirous to get the fuck out of here as well. Finish on this Exodus 21:6, because really it's like the mindset as well. The end of it is, this is the end of it. It says Exodus 21:6 says, then his master shall bring, so like 21:5, and if a servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Then the master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door or unto the doorpost. And his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And that's really a mindset as well with the women, because like I said, it's that they're after the goodies. Because like even when you go above, it says, if a master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons and daughters, the wife and the children shall be a master's, and he shall go out with them. So it's like those trappings of his circumstance. He's got attached to. And that's like the trappings are the big draw, especially for women as well. Like those trappings, the lifestyle, the ease, the comfort. These are the things they're looking for, which is why, they'll gravitate towards, those who have the rule, those who bear power. Because why? That comes with it. But then that mindset is the same one where it'll be like, I love my master. I'll not go out free, so you sacrifice your freedom. But then obviously this applies to the Hebrew servant. So it's being done in righteousness. But then that same, psychology has been applied into wickedness, where you have the mark, the MOTB, that Koragma, that implantable microchip, where that's functionally going to be used as an expression of that permanent desire to be arm in arm with Esau Edom. Because that's really what's manifest. Because just as, with the women aware, and that's even that draw of the women that is a serpent and Eve relationship, especially with them black women, them Jake women, being arm in arm with the system. They're going to try and draw you in the same way, just as a serpent beguiled Eve, and then through Eve got to Adam. That's going to be part of how people are, oh, just get it. The kids need to eat. Just get that. They're going to have these draws, because why? They want the goodies, man. They want that lifestyle. They want the ease. That hardship's not for them. What's the movie The Road, man, where it's like Charlize Theron. She's like the wife of like the main geezer and his son, and it's too raw for her. So she just fucking goes off into the wilderness. Who even knows? She could be in basement somewhere getting eaten. She could have just been getting railed. Like it's all like it's hell out there. But then why? That's the weaker vessel. And it's the same, reflects on Jake again. It's Jake has fallen short. Anyway, the reason we're in this circumstance is the men of Israel falling short and the punishment playing out. But, just meditating on it, man, because the way it's like the psychology of the women is funny, because you really see how it is very much being utilized and schemed in a way to push everyone towards that mark, man. Because a lot of people, it's like, even with the dynamic of how relationships work in the modern day, a lot of them, it's just what's the term? Happy wife, happy life. Yeah, that's the term. Where it's like, you're just placating and pleasing your wife just to maintain, ease, order, or whatever in the household. You would just kind of be like, okay, well, I'm going to fold on this. And it's really the gynocentric kind of household. And then with that, well, they already have with, spending. Like with spending money is something where that's something where they know to go at women. It's like a lot of the advertising, like clothing, certain products and whatnot, they'll advertise towards women, because why? Women will be the ones that control the spending, or they might control shopping in certain arenas, and they're easier to get to. But then for geezers, it's a different kind of nut to crack. Like Mad Men's a good TV show that goes into these things as well, where they'll do rigorous research into those things. That research is something Esau's heavy into. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom.